What's crackin'? Happy Halloween, everybody. New update for FL Studio has been out for a few days, and there were a few parts of it that I was really excited about. Honestly, some parts that I really wasn't, and then there were also parts that I completely wasn't expecting. So we all heard about the stem separation thing that's been hyped for months. There have been other creators who have made videos on the betas of this version of FL, and that was pretty cool. I was really excited about that. I feel like everybody's making a big deal about FL Cloud, but I mean, who needs another monthly subscription? I just can't see myself getting excited about it. Honestly, I find the name a little misleading because I thought it was going to be like some kind of cloud service to share projects with so that you could collaborate over the internet. I thought that would be kind of cool, but apparently it's just a new subscription sample browser, just like Splice or whatever 5,000 other services are available like that. Whatever. But then there's one that I guess has been hidden for all this time, or I just didn't know about it, or something like that. But it's a new synth called Kepler, and it is literally just a Juno. Like, it's not even trying to be stealthy about it. It's literally just like Juno interface, sounds like a Juno, that exact replica, which is a weird move for FL to make because all of their synthesizers so far have been mostly original. I mean, even synths like Saur or something like that, I mean, that's kind of based on the Minimoog, but at the same time, it does a lot of different things that the Minimoog doesn't do. And it also doesn't do a lot of the things that the Minimoog does. So to see them just straight up copy a synthesizer is kind of weird, but also kind of cool. So I want to mess around with it and see if it's any good. I've already messed around with the interface and it seems pretty user-friendly and very simple to use, just like the original, and I think it sounds pretty good too. But we're gonna go through it, we're gonna look at it, not in super depth or anything, not like you could get any crazy depth out of it because it's a replica of a Juno, which is supposed to be a simple synthesizer, but I'm also going to compare it because I have a real Juno to compare it to, and I want to see if this plugin is worth anything on its own, if it is worth anything as a replica of the original. Obviously, it's free to everybody who has the producer version of FL Studio already. I have the all plugins bundle, so I just automatically updated it and I got it. So we're gonna check it out, listen to some sounds, go over the interface, and then compare it to the real deal, and also a couple other software emulations of the real deal. Let's get it. Okay, so here we have Kepler, FL Studio's new plugin. Honestly, the interface is very good. I think it's excellently laid out. It's very simple, doesn't have any of the nonsense that a lot of emulations of the Juno like to put in there. I kind of like this very straightforward, no-nonsense approach where it's just the original verbatim. I think that's one thing I can appreciate about software emulations is when they are faithful to the original without adding a whole bunch of modern stuff. Like, I kind of just want the original here. I think one thing that immediately makes me sad is the fact that I have a 1440p monitor and there's no way to scale this. So I'm just stuck either squinting or like looking like an old person getting really close to my monitor. I'm not a huge fan. And people with 4K monitors, I'm sure, are also not huge fans of that. But it would certainly make it quite a bit easier to use, considering competitors like Arteria's JUNO-106 look like this. Look how much easier to read that is. Anyway, we're just going to focus on Kepler right now. We're going to make some sounds with it. So, here we go. I've loaded up some deadmau5 MIDI here, of course. This is my favorite pack of stuff just to test out synthesizers with. I think it does a good job. He makes some really pretty stuff. So I've loaded up one of his MIDI patterns here, and this is just a patch that I made actually in trying to compare it to my real Juno. So this is what this patch sounds like. This is no effects or anything. I think that sounds pretty good. It's pretty close to a real Juno. I think the chorus definitely helps, and even if we switch it over to the second chorus, that might help even a little more.
Yeah, that's definitely helping. I like the chorus on this. And I did notice I have the real thing, and when you engage both of the chorus buttons by totally jamming on it, it does the same thing where it kind of puts it into more of like a mono signal. The real thing does do that. I appreciate that little attention to detail. But basically what I have going on in this patch is I have a square wave that is being pulse width modulated by the LFO here at kind of a slow to medium rate. I have a sub, no noise or anything. I do have the envelope going to the filter here. The VCA is on gate mode. I have chorus 1 engaged, and I also do have, under this little sub options thing, I have chorus noise enabled, so it is like the original in that way. So I think this sounds pretty good. I really like it. I think it might sound better with a little bit of EQ and maybe some light reverb. So we're going to go over to my favorite reverb plugin here, dial in some light settings here, and we'll see how it sounds. I like how that sounds. That's really nice. So now let's do some tweaking. Maybe let's get the arpeggio version of this chord progression, and let's try to make a patch as we are playing here. Okay, so I like this. I think one thing I'm noticing about this, as opposed to the original, is that this sounds quite a bit less snappy. In analog synthesizers, there's like a certain really like snappy feeling that you get with the envelopes, where everything is just really tight and really, like, you can get it really quick. And that's something that I'm noticing this doesn't really seem to have. It doesn't have that snappiness that I like, even with the attack just absolutely, at 0. It does not seem to have that. So let me move over. Let's get this little homie out of the way, and we will try out the Arteria version here, and we'll see how that does. So let's try with Arteria's version here. We'll see how that goes as far as snappiness. Okay, so I'm noticing the same exact thing about this, is it's not snappy enough. So, okay, here we go. Last comparison here before we move to the real deal. We're going to take Serum here. I actually made a patch that sounds pretty similar to the patch that I made on the other two. Go into Serum, let's see what we got. So you hear how snappy that is? Like, I feel like the real deal could make that happen. But we're not messing around anymore. Let's go. MIDI out. Let's get it going here. The real deal. This is it. See? There it is. There's that snappiness that I'm looking for. Let's compare that to Kepler here, because I feel like Kepler and Arteria's offering were about the same as far as snappiness. So you can almost hear it like rising a little bit into that note, whereas on the real deal, it's just snappy. It just like gets right into it. Huh, okay. Well, that's a good comparison to have, but let's move on from this. Let's give Kepler a few more chances here. Let's throw some other MIDI at it, get some other, maybe explore some of the factory patches here. Wow, okay. There are a few of those. Okay. I'm going to grab one of my favorite chord progressions here. We're going to throw it at Kepler, and we're going to see how it does. We're going to try a few different patches. Let's go. That is faithful right there. I think that's much more faithful than what we were looking at before, because I feel like that kind of captures that kind of the weirdness that can happen in the timing on the Juno. Early MIDI, kind of sloppily implemented, and it can get kind of weird and funky sometimes, and for some reason this is doing that. Not super tight. I like that. That's really good. That's definitely a good example. Oh yeah. Okay, this is really interesting. They're actually using the filter as an oscillator on this one. So that means this filter self-oscillates. That's awesome. That is huge. I honestly find it really impressive when synthesizers can do this when they can make filters self-oscillate. I actually have a really incredibly similar patch that I made right on the screen here or in the description below, and you can check it out. It was one of my first patches on the Juno when I got it, and it's really ridiculously similar to this. So they did a great job making the filter sound right on this. I like that. Oh yeah, that crazy resonance and kind of the robotic sound of cranking that on a Juno. Oh, that sounds just perfect. Oh yeah, there's a certain way that you can make the Juno sound very like metallic and harsh, which is really uncharacteristic of an analog synth like that, but the Juno does it, and this does a good job. Yeah, that's it. Oh wow, that's nice. I like that. That sounds really good. See, that is really snappy. Now I'm wondering, is it the chorus not being emulated properly that's making it not snappy? Let's find out. That's exactly what it is. It's the chorus. The chorus isn't quite right on this. So I think what if we try here putting my favorite chorus, Tal Chorus LX, because it's modeled after the JUNO-106 chorus. We're going to try putting that on this and compare it. So let's hear Kepler's chorus first. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's hear Tal Chorus. Yeah, immediately you can tell. It's a little more bassy, it's much more snappy. There's a lot more like low end to the sound, and I think that replicates the chorus of the Juno more properly, because in the Juno it does actually sound pretty much exactly like this plugin, where it kind of makes it louder and it thickens it up a lot. It gives it a lot of low end that wasn't there before. So I feel like maybe that's where this plugin is lacking, and where I was finding that lack of snappiness is in the chorus effect. I think that's what it is. But let's keep going. Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, that's like the real deal. What I like about the Juno is you can get that kind of chorusy effect without even using the chorus, just by pulse width modulating the square wave oscillator, and it just beefs it up and it gives it that really chorusy, nice sound. And then when you engage the chorus, it gets even more dramatic. Oh, that's just wonderful. And of course, the one thing that every Juno has to do well, which is just being a saw wave machine with that one saw and the square wave sub, just beefing. Like, this is the initialized patch that you want. It definitely has a little bit of that fuzziness that you get with the Juno. I would call this synth a very fuzzy synth. So now I'm wondering, what is the deal with the two init patches? There's a J6 and a J106 init patch, and I'm wondering how they're different. Oh, It's that the 106 aligns the sub-oscillator phase with the main oscillator. I see. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. That's quite the little attention to detail there. I like that. Okay, I really, really like this plugin, and I think it's great, but I think we need to do just the ultimate comparison. I think I need to play the exact same thing on all four of the different options: Kepler, JUNO-106, Serum, the patch I made, and the real deal. So let's get into that. I have some recorded stuff here. I played the exact same thing. I'm going to show you all four, and I want you to guess which one is the real deal. They are all recorded from those four options I gave, and I'm aware that this isn't quite the most fair comparison because FL Studio plugin Kepler is technically kind of made to model all three, all the JUNO-6, the 60, and the 106, and at least the interface wise, it's more modeled after the 6. And I also know that the JUNO-6 is very clearly modeled after the JUNO-6 and not the 106. And what I have is the 106. We're going to compare anyway. I think they sound similar enough, at least the 60 and the 106. They sound similar enough that I think this will get the point across. If there is a point, we'll see. So we're going to start off with synth number 1. All right, now here's synth number 2. And here's synth number 3. And here's number 4. Okay, that is all 4. So, now that you've heard all of those, I want you to guess which one is the real JUNO-106. Leave your comment down below with which one you thought was the real one versus the others, and also maybe why you thought it was the real one. And now I'm going to reveal which one was the real Juno, and it was number 1. To me, it's pretty obvious to be able to tell. I feel like all 3 of the other audio clips were very close, but they lacked a certain character that the original had. So let's take a listen one more time between a few of them. And now here's Kepler. And now here is JUNO-106. And now here's my serum patch. Honestly, funnily enough, I think my personal from scratch serum patch made it the closest to the Juno out of the three of them. I feel like Kepler and the JUNO-106 felt a little bit too contained for me. Like they didn't have quite enough of the chaos of a real analog synth. And I tried to kind of simulate that with some of the parameters in Serum, but I feel like it ended up being a little too chaotic, especially in the low notes. You can hear that really big chorusy effect with the pulse wave modulation on the square wave, and I feel like that was a little bit too much, so I feel like I might need to dial that back a little bit. But I honestly just felt like both of the real software emulations of the Juno felt just a little too contained for me, while lacking that kind of character that the Juno has. And they still sound ridiculously close. Like in a mix, you would never be able to tell for any of them. Any of them could pass as a Juno, honestly. But I feel like listening to them on their own, alone, the Juno just really stands out from all three of the other ones. It's really just, like, I could pick it out any day. Which is not to say any of the other three sound bad. I think all three others sound great. Like I said, in a mix, you would never know. But for me, I feel like there's just something that the Juno has that none of the emulations can really capture. Anyway, I think Kepler's really good for being a free inclusion with this update if you already have Producer Edition or higher. I think this is a great synth. I think the layout is fantastic. I think the sound is really ridiculously close to the original, and I would say honestly about as close to the original as something like Arteria's JUNO-106, which is a paid plugin that doesn't come with your DAW. Obviously it doesn't have some of the additional effects that the JUNO-106 has, like all of these additional advanced parts, like a second LFO, a second envelope if you wanted to make it specifically for the filter, or a delay or reverb effect. And it also doesn't have unison. It doesn't have a specific detune knob. It just has a lot more bits and parts to it that make it a little bit more complicated to use, but a little more versatile at the same time. But as far as a bare bones just replica of the original, you can't really get much better than Kepler. It's really ridiculously good. And that's coming from me kind of always being skeptical of FL's stock plugins. Like, don't get me wrong, there are some that are really knocked it out of the park, like Reverb 2 and Delay 3 and some of the other synthesizers that are available. But I don't know, for some reason most of them have just kind of fallen short for me, but Kepler absolutely does not. I think it is a fantastic way to go, and it's really, really close to the original, so overall I think it's great. So what did you think of the fake Juno? I thought it was pretty good. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of all the sound demos and how close you think it got to the original. I thought it was really good. If you have any other experience with it, please leave a comment down below. I think it's a great add-on to FL Studio, especially being free, not some paid thing that you have to add on as an update. Yeah, overall I thought it was good. I thought it was pretty close to the original, although not
quite close enough for my use. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, hope you found it helpful. If you did, let me know down in the comments. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.